Hello out there. My name is Laolu Akonde, and you are on to Inside Sources. But first, we are skipping my take today. I have a guest that is going to be in 2 segments, and you're going to get an answer today whether indeed IBB and Abacha had some kind of a covenant. Inside Sources, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today we're going to have 2 segments of the same guest, and our guest is retired Major General Ishola Williams, one of the more pro-democracy generals, especially during the June 12 annulment. So we have 2 segments because we had recorded him just before our former military president released his book. So that's the first segment, and then another segment that has him respond to some of the issues that were raised in the book, A Journey in Service by General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. Both of them served at about the same time. He was one of the leading generals while former President Ibrahim Babangida was the head of state. So we're going to start with the segment of him responding to some of the issues in the book. General Williams, you are welcome to Inside Sources.
Thank you very much.
All right, sir. So somewhere around page 296 in former military president Babangida's book, he made a specific response to you. He said that after the June 12 annulment and some of the protests that greeted it, especially in Lagos and other parts of the Southwest and across the country, that some of the best among us were alarmed about what was going on. And he mentioned your name, General Ishola Williams, and that of General Saliu Ibrahim. So what do you think that was about? You know, the former president said that you were among the best, mentioned 2 names, and you said that you were alarmed about what was happening. Do you recollect having any conversation with General Babangida about what happened at that time?
First of all, it is very important to start with what I can call the basic principles of what military officers are expected to be. One is that they are supposed to be professional, okay, rather than career officers. 2, they are supposed to be disciplined enough, okay?
Yes.
Not loyalty, but disciplined enough to know when to act on behalf of their country as a service to the country, not to the president as such, as commander-in-chief, but as a symbol of unity of the country. We tend to make that mistake. The third and most important thing is that they must be above ethnic loyalty or ethnic service to their own people. They must be completely above that. But what has happened in this case is that in 1966, demonstrated who are the professional officers in the army and who are the career officers in the army. But one should not be surprised by 1966 coup, because the first president of Nigeria too wanted a coup, but the then officers, led by Mirawe, did not allow that to happen because they were professional, because they were disciplined enough, because they had loyalty to the country, not to the president at that time who wanted them to do a coup. You see the difference between loyalty to the country and loyalty to the president?
Yes.
Okay. I want to explain that. Coming to the pre-June Trust saga, many officers and General Babangida mentioned their names in his book, did not want the election to hold, like he said. And they made up their mind that if the election was to hold, they were to make sure that it was cancelled. Secondly, too, they needed somebody to lead the group. And General Abacha was at hand to be able to do that. But you couldn't blame General Abacha because, like General Babangida himself said, but forgot to mention that he used to call General Abacha the Khalifa. Okay? Which meant that one way or the other, he was encouraging or motivating General Abacha to succeed him. So, like when people have said, and to a certain extent, in my conversation with General Babangida, just before he stepped aside,
yes,
at 12 o'clock midnight in Mina, he could not answer a question that I asked him.
Okay.
Did you have a blood oath with Abacha that was going to succeed you?
You asked him that question. You asked him that question.
Yes, I asked him that question. He refused to answer. Because I told him, if you are going to tell me a lie, sir, do not answer.
Wow.
Directly, one-on-one.
In Mina.
In Mina, late night, presidential guest house. You will remember. Before that, there were a group of civilian governors in his regime who came to see him. And you know what? They were encouraging him not to hand over.
Civilian governors.
Civilian governors. They were encouraging him not to hand over. And there were certain examples of Egypt.
Look at that.
Yes, they were. I don't want to mention it, but they were encouraging him not to hand over. I was looking at him. It was when they left that I started to ask him that question.
Wow.
After telling him that, don't mind these governors. The best thing is for you to leave. Okay? After that, when the time was approaching, August 27, I wrote in an official letter and sent an officer, a brigadier general, who is now dead. I don't want to mention the name.
Okay.
To him with that letter at Aso Villa. Initially, his late email, Lieutenant Bamali, refused to accept the letter. The brigadier general called me from Bamali's office and said, this gentleman is refusing to receive your letter. So I told him, please tell the president that has a letter from General Williams. Before that one accepted the letter, because he knew, the president knew what was going to be in the letter.
Interesting.
I told him that we were preparing to receive him with full military honors when he arrives Mina after stepping aside, and we did that.
So you sent the letter when? When in 1993? Do you remember? July, June, when?
I sent the letter in August.
August, okay.
When it was decided that he must leave before 27th of, he must leave on 27th of August. Okay. And he knew what was going to be in the letter anyway.
And sorry, so, General, you were, what were you doing in Mina then? That was your posting?
Yes, I was Commander Tradoc in Mina at that time.
Okay.
I was already posted to Lagos to be the chief of operations, training, and plans.
Okay, sir.
But it was from 1st of September. So I was still in Mina at that time.
Okay.
And I stayed in Mina behind to make sure that it was well received with honors and everything. And I did that. I was happy that I did that. And he came to Mina with his wife. They were in the same car when they were received.
Wow.
Military guard of honor and everything before he was taken to his residence.
Right.
But he did not go straight to his residence.
Okay.
He went straight to the presidential guest house. There were a group of officers, many of them are dead too, who came along with him. These officers knew that they had stepped aside, but they were sort of putting pressure on him to appoint new CDS his chiefs, knowing Babangida for what he is, and without consulting General Abacha,
yes,
he appointed new service chiefs. When those ones came to tell me, I said, you are not going to last very long.
So he appointed them after he had stepped
I told them they are not going to last very long. Yes. And shortly after that, General Abacha flew in, met with General Babangida in his house. And when he came out, of course, he changed all of them. But before that,
wow,
two important meetings took place. One was in Lagos immediately after the coup.
No, you have jumped now. Which coup?
In Lagos,
General, which coup are you referring to?
The November coup, the coup that led Babangida to step aside.
Well,
after June 12. After June 12.
Okay, well, Babangida stepped aside voluntarily. We don't know of a coup for him to step. Maybe you guys did a coup. Is Babangida, are you talking about Babangida or Abacha?
See, June 12 happened.
Yes.
After that, they stopped the announcement of the election.
Yes.
Because people put pressure on Babangida that the election must be cancelled, must be annulled. Okay.
Yes.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Then interim government came in.
Exactly.
When the interim government came in, there was a meeting before the interim government. Okay. Where officers of brigadier generals and above of the armed forces met in Nassau Villa.
Okay.
Late Attorney General Akpangbo was the only civilian there, the only civilian.
In that meeting.
And he was the Attorney General. When the discussion started, about June 12.
Yes.
Yeah, Babangida was correct. I was totally alarmed. I said, what are we discussing? What are we discussing here? I thought we came here to discuss the handing over process, not what I'm hearing. General Abacha was sitting to my right, and in between me and General Abacha was General Dia.
Okay.
Yeah, but I said, oh, no, Ishola, don't talk like that now. I said, no, sir. We should be discussing how to hand over, not annulment. On what basis are we annulling this election? Nobody answered me. It was only late Admiral Ikomo who supported my statement.
So this meeting that you are referring to was held after the annulment or before the annulment?
By that time, it was not annulled yet.
Okay.
The election had taken place.
Okay.
The announcement was going on before they stopped it.
All right, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. So I was thinking the meeting was being called about the handing over process, only to be told that there were some reasons being given for annulment of the election.
Okay.
And I was asking, what were the reasons at that time?
Wow.
Nobody could answer me. It was only the late Abacha who said, oh, no, Ishola, don't speak like that now. I said, no. We came there for handover process, not annulment.
And then late General Ihomu, I know it was Navy, but the general equivalent supported you.
Now, this thing was this. The Ihomu was supported me. No other officer stood up to say anything. I was surprised. I was surprised and shocked. And what happened thereafter in the meeting was the Babangida telling Anthony Akpangbo to tell us about a decree for a transition period. I said, what? Transition period? I know what was interesting about the decree is that General Abacha was the next to take over to whoever was to lead the Transition Council and also to remain as the Minister of Defense. Again, I question, why do we need a Transition Council when elections have been conducted free and fair? Or again, it was like a voice in the wilderness, except again Admiral Komu, which appeared that Admiral Komu, second vice president, did not even know what was happening. Did not even know what was happening. At the end of the day, since I was the only person, but I refused. I said, then I questioned, why should the Abacha Minister of Defense be the person to take over in case anything happens to the head of the transitional government? But we don't need transitional government anyway. We don't need it. But who am I? It was ruled out. Then, as we were coming out, I met the one Mr. Aluko there.
Okay.
He was personal assistant to Chief Shonekom.
Yes.
I called him aside. And I told him, why are you people, why is your chief taking this appointment? It's not going to last long. It's not going to last long. Let him read the decree. Let him read the decree to show that the whole decree was being planned in such a way so that Abacha could take over. And in fact, many attorney generals have done the service to this country, many of them. In fact, we need to have new system of attorney general in Nigeria, like they call them public defenders in South Africa. We need a public defender in Nigeria. Oshibaju was trying to set up that sort of thing in Lagos. He didn't complete it.
No, I think there is the office of the public defender currently in Lagos, sir.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that the Attorney General shouldn't have drafted that sort of thing, except it was in collusion with the people who wanted the election to be annulled. Okay.
Yeah, that is. You're talking of the Attorney General Clement Akpangbo.
Yes, because the way the decree was drafted, it showed that they wanted Abacha to take over, and when Shonekom calls a meeting, then Abacha will not go for the meeting. And he remained in Lagos and the seat of government in
Abuja.
In Abuja. Okay, when there's any meeting, the Abacha will not go. Okay. Now, he got to a point in which the whole transition something was obviously to be short-lived, because there were many officers, those who didn't want the election to hold, who were still pushing. Who were still pushing. And since General Abacha was their leader at that time, that was it. So it was not surprising that it could happen. Okay. It was not surprising at all.
All right, thank you, General, for this very useful insight that you have provided. I wanted to ask, just as a follow-up, you did say that when the meeting was called at the Aso Villa, where all the generals were meeting, and you had expected that the meeting is going to be about handing over, but it turns out people in that meeting were talking about annulment. You said that the only person that supported you was Admiral Aikomu. Now, it turned out that when the annulment was going to be done, it was Aikomu's press secretary that issued that handwritten statement annulling the elections. Do you know whether Aikomu supported that statement, General?
No, but to remember, everybody could remember that time that the statement had no signature, no letterhead, nothing.
Yeah.
So people did not take it serious at all. Oh, well, because it looked anonymous. Okay. And nobody in the meeting, including me, was aware of that notice before the meeting. Okay. I guess it was during the meeting that statement was quickly issued. Because like Jan Bamagra himself said, Admiral Aikomu did not know that his own press secretary has issued an on-site statement to the press.
To the press.
Okay.
The meeting that you spoke about that held in Aso Villa that had in attendance all the generals, do you remember the date of that meeting? Was that meeting held just before the unsigned statement that annulled the June 12 election?
No, I cannot remember whether it's July or early August. I cannot remember now. But everybody was at the meeting, we remember very well.
No. Hold on, General.
That meeting held.
Hold on, General. That meeting, based on what you have said earlier, that meeting held before the annulment. Is that so?
Yes, it was before the annulment. It was before the announcement of the annulment.
Okay, all right. Just
before the announcement of the annulment.
Okay, so
the whole thing was already planned before the meeting.
Okay.
The whole thing was already planned before the meeting by General Babangida and his advisors and cohort. So you wanted to present something they've already agreed on, especially those in their cohort have agreed on, to those of us who are outside it to endorse, which I refused to, But unfortunately, like I said, only Admiral Aikomu, who was an insider, but at the same time an outsider, supported me. Yeah. All other officers kept quiet.
Okay, General, do you think that General Babangida owes Nigeria a categorical apology, in your view?
No, I think any apology now is too late, really, for any apology. Abiola is dead, Osamusu is dead, but it's good that they've honored Abiola, and all the things that are necessary, I think, have been done. Since he has not taken a note of office, he cannot be called a president as such. Yeah. Since he has not taken it's when you take a note of office that to become a president. Okay. He has not done that.
Okay. So, General,
yes.
Yeah. One more question before you go ahead. Do you think that there is a need, now that General Babangida has come out to explain his own side of what happened, and he has brought new insights into what happened. He has said that the election was actually won by Chief MK Abiola, and he would have done it differently again if he had the opportunity. Do you think that we should hold a truth commission such as the one that was held in South Africa after apartheid?
What's interesting about truth commission is this, is that it is done. When report comes out, it is difficult to implement the recommendations of the truth commission. Like the case of South Africa, they're having problems today about implementation. Two, if you can recollect, Abacha just set up
a commission.
Yes, a commission like that too, in which everybody was given a chance to come and say whatever they want and things like that. They said so. They put across their statements and everything. And some people denied whether they were part of a coup or not part of a coup. And you brought, for example, Major Fadikwe, who confirmed about a coup being planned against Abacha.
Yes.
That one too is a long story. And up to now, what have we done about the recommendation from Okuta? What have we done? It's a waste of time about having any truth commission. What is the truth that we are looking for? Okay, because sometimes some of these truths are known, but what action can you take in terms of reparation from those who have suffered? We may not know because a series of actions behind the camera have already taken place in terms of compensation, reparations, and things like that we do not know. Except we want to make a suggestion about what can be done in terms of compensation for those who have suffered. Professor Mosu, for example, he gave a postmortem national honors, compensate the family for sudden tenure, for breaking his tenure of office, because they just had him like that.
What about the victims of protests that were killed and maimed in parts of Nigeria where we have protests that greeted the annulment? How should we remember them? How should we honor them?
Yes, I mean, there are so many people who lost their lives and things like that, who struggle to survive. But one important thing that I need to say here is this, is that I was in the defense headquarters when the coup happened. And that was the Abacha coup that removed Shoneko. Yes,
all right.
Against this thing. I was surprised how people like Ganifa Ohimbi and co were deceived to the point that they believed that Abacha will organize a coup and hand over to Chief Abiola.
No, I don't think that Ganifa Ohimbi supported the coup. I think you're talking of Dr. Olu Onogoruwa.
Of Abacha's coup, of the coup. Of the removed Shoneko.
No, I'm saying that maybe you meant to say Dr. Onogoruwa, not Chief Ganifa Ohimbi.
No. Onogoruwa came here. Onogoruwa was appointed Attorney General by Abacha.
Yes.
I'm talking even before the coup.
Okay.
Civil society organizations supported Abacha's coup. They did.
Yeah, because you are right, because they were deceived.
Yeah, they were deceived that they were going to hand over. And the officers who are behind Abacha then, again, don't let me mention names because it's a disgraceful conduct on their behalf, managed to convince civil society organization that Abacha was going to take over and hand over to them. And they believed that, okay, until it happened. And what many people did not even know is that after the coup, for 2 or 3 days, there was no announcement. Because there were some of us who were strongly against the coup and determined that the thing should not hold. But we had no troops to be able to overthrow what had been done. Okay? But so we just have to accept. In fact, at one time, I was encouraging generals in the army to retire, to resign en masse. But you know too that we had a meeting at the officers' mess. Again, it was only one officer from the Navy, Captain Kentebe,
Yes.
who supported my statement that the Abacha should go, or someone should go and broadcast and say that we are going to hand over to Chief Obiola. At that meeting, it was only Captain Kentebe. It was a meeting of colonels and above. And that was why I was saying at the beginning, there are position officers, there are career officers. There are many, many officers who are interested in taking political positions in the Nigerian army, Nigerian armed forces. Many, and to display that day. Because as we are discussing, people were looking for a way to get positions, to become military governors, military administrators, here and there and there. So we have an issue, really. So that it was only Captain Kantebe who stood up, but the rest, they wanted the political position. That's what's happened.
So
that's what's happened.
So maybe the last question. So when and how did you now resign? Because I recollect that you resigned or retired from the military after the Abacha coup. Can you just tell us that story of how and when that happened?
No, after the meeting at the Air Force Base.
Yes, in Lagos.
And I saw the overwhelming support for the coup, except for Captain Kentebe. I don't know whether I'm still alive today or dead. I hope he's still alive like me. I was shocked though. And I stood up there and I said in front of everybody, I am leaving the army. So I went back to my office, wrote a letter of resignation, went to the Chief of Army Staff, Aliu Guso Mohammed, who is my classmate, is still very much alive. And I said, I'm leaving. This regime is going to create problems for Nigeria. And I said so at the meeting too before I left. I said so in the presence of everybody that this regime is going to create problems for Nigeria. And I was going.
Interesting.
Initially, they thought I was joking.
Wow.
And I left 3 days after.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you so much, General Ishola Williams, for that insight. We will now go to the second segment of the interview that we have had while you were here in the studio. Inside Sources will be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. It's good to have you. The last time you came, I think it was about a year ago, and we had a very useful conversation, that actually got quite a lot of very interesting feedback. So today I just want to take it, from some of the things that you said at that time. During our conversation, we talked about the issue of followers, the responsibility of followership. And you did say that, it's important to begin to organize around, around the followership, the obligation. How far have you gone on that?
We are looking at the context of the Western world, in which they have enlightened citizens and enlightened followers. Where they say leadership drives progress. They are not discovering in Europe and America new type of leadership they are having, moving towards the right, that the way their leadership of the right will take them will create problems for the world. What does that mean? The responsibility now falls back onto the followership. But it's the followership that got the right to where they are. Okay?
True.
So, if you have a leadership system, you are the followers, put the leadership system in place, and therefore, you bear the brunt. So, if you suffer, like fella will say, it's your problem. If you smile,
it's your problem.
Okay. So when you look at the situation in Nigeria, since we are following a system, hook, line, and sinker abroad, money has become God. And we have got to the stage now that corruption has become a culture. Corruption has become a culture.
Right.
Okay. Secondly, too, we are also following what some of the people we copy in the Western world are realizing that it's not appropriate. What is it? When they want to measure the economic growth of a country, they use GDP.
Yes.
But for the past 50 years, people have been arguing that GDP does not cover the welfare of the people itself.
Yeah, it doesn't reflect broadly enough.
Thank you.
That's true.
And two, if you say you want to build $1 trillion economy, how does that impact on the life of the common people? So which one should you build first? Is it not the economy for sustainability of the people than what you call economic growth? What is economic growth without the people? But that's what we copy. So when an African president comes and says, I want to create $1 trillion economy, it's a joke. Because the man on the street will ask, how does that improve my life?
My lot.
But what happens is this is that within the followership structure,
Right.
there are intellectuals who are supposed to be doing the thinking for us, to be reflecting on the system, and to say, we need to change the paradigm. We need to change the framework. We need to find a new system, or we need to adapt one system or the other. Because this whole system of what they call democracy is not working. And some Western scholars for the past 20 years have been looking for alternative to democracy. But democracy is not the problem. It is one of the pillars which are attached to democracy, the economic system, capitalist system. But in a capitalist system, what happens is that you create inequality by introducing what? Competition. When you introduce competition in any system, one side must win, one side must lose. So what happens is this is that some people are becoming millionaires, billionaires. Okay? Some people are saying, we are bad.
Yeah, but
and we are copying that here. Any country that wants to make progress, you must give food, the pride of peace. Second is learning. Third, health. Go to the Scandinavian countries, they have that. Those three. You can't touch it.
So regardless of their capitalist settings, they take care of agriculture, they take care of education, and they take care of health.
Yes. If you have those three, what's your problem?
True. I agree, sir.
What's your problem?
And that is why, some of the things that I have pushed here is for us to have, I guess, there may be more fundamental changes that we need to make, and I will come back to that. But right now, the structure that we have right now, even our constitution, which a lot of us have raised all kinds of questions about what needs to be fixed, that constitution allows states, it gives them complete free hand, in my view, on the matters of agriculture, on the matters of health, and on the matters of education. But for the most part, the states have abandoned that.
No, what's happening is this is that I've never had any single Nigerian politician, from the president down to any member of the political party, talk about subsidiarity.
Okay.
A federalism without subsidiarity will become a centralized federalism. What does subsidiarity mean? Very, very important in Western countries. If a local government can do something better for the people,
yes,
you state don't do it. If a state can do something for the people,
better than the federal
government, leave it to them. But what's happening in this is that it is not the fault of the federal government. Just tell me, why do you need Southwest Development Commission? They said NNDC, Niger Delta has war. Now, the people in the Northeast, Boko Haram, because of Boko Haram and everything, they have that. So they are not creating labor commission all over the place, taking responsibilities away. And what did the governors call that? Federal presence. They are jokers. Our governors are jokers, sincerely. I'm not sure whether they know what they want. Second thing, to today, APC, that I call Alliance of Political Crooks.
That's what you call APC?
Yes, Alliance of Political Crooks. They have never been able to publish a refined report.
Yeah, which was on restructuring.
Whatever name they call it. But I call it federalism with subsidiarity. And that was what the report is all about. It's not only restructuring. It's that our founding fathers in 1960 wanted federalism with subsidiarity. 1960, 1963 Constitution. It was very clear. Very, very clear. It also had resource control. The military came and dabaru everything. Those who came after them are enjoying it. They don't want to change. And then everybody that comes, is it in my time that it will change? Buhari came, he was not even aware. Abacha came in 1999 deliberately make sure that never happened. He wanted more powers at the federal level. And that's what he left. Okay, and that's why he wanted that term. You can deny it from here to heaven.
No, I think President Buhari can no longer fool us about total.
So you can now, and since then, what has been happening is this: is that federalism in practice in Nigeria is decreasing, especially under the present regime. And it's a strategic move by the president and his cohort.
Okay, so how do you mean that under this current President Tinubu? Well, I want you to explain that further. You mean that the idea of federalism is declining? Can you explain that?
No, you see, the point of this is that there are two sides of the argument. Some people say, write a new constitution.
Yes.
The respected people like Anyoku and Co.
Yes.
For parliamentary system.
Yes.
Okay. Some are saying that you can amend the constitution. Okay. And you don't need to sit down and call a group of people. Some people became very rich whenever they call them for all this constitution. I know one guy, the last time Jonathan called one, he got 13 million naira.
As a member of the CONFAM?
Yes. Each of them got 30 million naira for hotel accommodation for the period they are going to take. That's a lot of money.
It was a jamboree.
At that time,
yeah.
If you put that money in a fixed deposit by now, you don't need to do much. So that's it. But what we must also remember this is that presidential system is not good for Africa. The Americans are discovering that too.
Exactly.
They are discovering that too. Why am I saying so about presidential system? One single man you turn him into a god. He or she becomes all-wise, be able to understand all the challenges and problems the decision faces. So when they push a policy paper before him, they just say the president has approved. Did you understand what is approved? Secondly, decision making is different from implementation.
Well, this is very true.
I'm sure you have the experience too.
Very true.
We forget that. We forget that.
Good. I mean, so let's take it one by one. I support parliamentary system because based on my own experience in the villa working as a presidential aide for 8 years, I observed that whoever is president, in addition to what you said, you have that aura. Everybody, sucks up to you. Not that it's bad if you know what you are doing, but whoever is president has the protection not to engage with the people. He or she doesn't have to take any question. He is not compelled to go to the parliament where opposition can confront him. All he has to do is to appoint aides to go on TV. He doesn't even have to go and do
even
meetings.
Even ministers or secretary.
Yeah, he doesn't even have to go and do interaction with the people on the ground. So he's so protected. On the contrary, in the parliamentary system, the prime minister, who is the head of government, sits in parliament and is confronted on a regular basis by a leader of opposition who can question him openly. There is even a question time. So transparency and accountability is increased under a parliamentary system, but transparency and accountability of a president is way, way too low for our level of development. So that is why I support parliamentary system. General, I want to know, do you also support parliamentary system?
There are many options.
Okay.
Option one is the French system in which power is shared between the president and the prime minister.
Okay.
So if you look at the case of Côte d'Ivoire, for example, they have a president, they have a prime minister.
Right.
The prime minister is the head of government, and the president allows him to run the government, as is stated in the constitution. He answers everything about the government to the parliament. Okay. The president will only interfere when there's a crisis. But if the president appoints the prime minister, that's one system, the Francophone country. The second one is, so in that case, there's no need for vice president. The second one is South African one. Many people do not know that South Africans do not vote to elect their president. They don't.
They don't.
What happens is that once the ANC has voted 2 years before,
right,
and say you are the chairman, automatically of ANC, you're automatically the presidential candidate. The election we hold, Parliament will convene, and they will now say that since ANC has the majority, automatically ANC chooses
the president.
So instead of calling him a prime minister,
it's called a president.
They call him president. Okay. So even though he has a vice president too.
Yes.
But he can be called to the parliament anytime, like a prime minister.
To answer.
To answer queries. Okay. The parliament can also remove him.
Yes. Because he's normally appointed in parliament.
Yes. So the parliament has a lot of powers. Togo, has tried to copy that in a crooked manner in order to be able to stay in power.
Okay.
That sort of premiership system allows a political party to stay in power forever. Okay. As long as the people want that party to stay, it is left for the party to decide who becomes the prime minister. Now, the good thing about what you have said also is this, is that in a good parliamentary system, the prime minister is nominated by the political party at the grassroots level. He stands election. He must win his local.
Yeah.
He must win that local area.
True.
So that's one. Two, he must be elected by the party to be the leader of the party.
Yeah.
Three, the party will say, okay, you can become a prime minister. And fourth thing, the parliament must say yes too. Even if you does the three, and the fourth one,
it's kind
you get my point.
Yes.
So, like you said, that level of accountability starts from grassroots level.
Right.
And if it's not doing well at the grassroots level,
they can fix it.
They start shouting and say, hey, this man must go. The party will just meet and say, Mr. Prime Minister, we don't like you anymore. They go to the parliament, vote of no confidence. They say, okay, you don't want me anymore, thank you. I go.
Go home.
You cannot do that in presidential system. Presidential system is godlike. The president say God. And in a system where we have followership, the president say God. And that system we have in Africa. See, that system we have in Africa.
Yeah.
So, in the real sense of it, even if you don't want to adopt the full parliamentary system, we can do the South African one. Okay, we can do the South African one. But for the whole of Africa, I support the parliamentary system completely.
Okay.
The Kenyans are having problem with their presidential system. Everywhere you go, there's problem with the presidential system. It's too much for one man to be able to take decisions.
It is.
And therefore, implementation becomes useless. You cannot understand everything.
You call the APC alliance of political crooks.
Yes.
Why?
Look at those who have done it. If a whole chairman of a party can say, come to ye that have stolen, and I shall give you rest. Oshiomhole says so openly that anybody who has got case, just come and join APC, will waive your case. And it happened when he was chair. It happened. It happened when he was chair. See, EFCC is doing far better than under the now than under Buhari regime. Far better.
So yeah, I think they have a very focused guy.
Far better. That's what's happening. In some cases, you know, the big power tried to stop him. But now you could see, and to see how seriously they are doing the job, some of his boys are suffering.
Yeah, they just shot one in another.
Yes, on the attack. So that's what it is.
Interestingly, you were chairman of Transparency International before, and they just released their corruption perception index for 2024. And, you know, they said Nigeria moved from 25% to 26%. You know, that was just recently.
No, for Transparency International, the anti-corruption index is outdated, completely outdated. Completely outdated. Mr. Trump has even made it worse. When Transparency International started, one of the key principles was to get the United States at that time to do the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act.
Yes.
Trump came.
Yeah, yes, relaxed the
regulation. Aside, which means that, as before, or like any other thing. And the European countries copied the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act of the United States. He has stepped it down. So any American company can come to you now and say, you know, what's the game?
Let's call it deal.
Say, the person will be punished. But now, and that's going to impact on African countries.
True.
Okay. And the money that had been seized before, what happens to the money? We recently got $52 million.
Yeah.
You see, if you can get $52 million interest for money seized, can you imagine that amount of money?
Well, they're not giving us the interest, really. And of course,
we they try go.
We are thankful that we got the money back, you know, but they even have some conditions to ensure that
Transparency International.
Yes.
The anti-corruption index is completely outdated. Completely outdated.
So why do you say that?
What we need to be doing now is to do impunity index. We have worked out a formula about 3 or 4 years ago about this impunity index. I haven't tried the ICPC. Those ones are not interested in getting anything straight. So I'm trying University of Lagos to see whether they can work with Pan-Abstract for us to be able to do that.
To develop an impunity perception index.
Yes. So that they will be able to. But what is good about impunity index is this. Unlike the anti-corruption, that perception. Impunity index, you base it on facts. Why? You look at EFCC arrested 20 people. How many were prosecuted?
Okay.
How many were jailed?
Okay.
What did they recover? And so on. Do you get to know that?
No. So I guess the perception index is more of perception. But so you're advocating for something that is factual.
Factual. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, General. Our time is already fast spent. Thank you for coming to Inside Sources. Thank you for your insights, that you bring. And thank you for your forthrightness. And thank you for your service to the country.
Thank you.
All right. Well, there you have it, another edition of Inside Sources. Like we always say, Nigeria will prevail. It means that Nigeria will win. We will not relent. And thank you for watching. My name is Laolu Akonde. By the grace of God, I'll see you at the next edition.